Hi there and welcome to the Profitable Copywriter podcast. I'm Helen Nuttall and I'm a freelance copywriter, and we'll be here to discuss all things copywriting, from your business to your website to pitching clients and to the actual copy that you're going to create. Hi everybody and welcome to my business show. This is called the Profitable Copywriter. Welcome also if you're tuning in via the podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. Today's topic is all about what copywriting is and what it isn't. So maybe you are thinking of becoming a copywriter, and you've seen it online and you're thinking maybe this could be a good either side hustle for me or a new career, or maybe you're a business owner and you really need to get to grips with the difference between copywriting and content writing. So today's show is all about digging into the differences between copywriting and content writing, and then also what copywriters do, because you might be fascinated to find out about what exactly a copywriter does and what, the different roles are out there for copywriters. Okay, so let's dig in. What is copywriting? Okay, so copywriting is any writing that persuades, basically. This could be online, it could be in the form of a website, it could be in the form of a printed document that you get through the door, like a leaflet or a brochure, maybe. So it can come in many different forms. It might be the email that you receive via your inbox, something that is trying to persuade you to do something that calls you to action. Okay. So there's lots of different examples around. And actually, to be honest, the more you think about it, the more you will see copy around you. That's my challenge for you this week, is to actually look around you when, it's tempting in modern life to rush, isn't it? Well, have a look around you. Have a look at the bus stops on the sidewalk. What copy is on there? Have a look in your local shop. What advertisements are up in the shop window? Have a look online. What kind of ads pop up in your Facebook feed? Those are all examples of copywriting. So copywriting itself is such a varied career if you're thinking about launching yourself into that kind of thing. Okay, so I've got some examples again now for you for the digital world. So it might be that you might be interested in that. Things like home pages, service pages. Maybe you've looked at a big sales page recently for a course you wanted to join, or someone's about page. You were trying to figure out whether you wanted to work with that person or buy something from that person, and you looked at their about page and their story. That is an example of copy as well. Or maybe a landing page. Maybe you entered a competition and you had to enter your email address. Or maybe you wanted that freebie off that person's site. Maybe you found that first piece of information about copywriting that really, really appealed to you. Maybe you've had a look on Facebook and Instagram and stuff keeps popping up on your feed. I know I got one about, there's something about mold the other day that I thought was really tempting because I've got a little bit in my shower. So, there's so many examples of copy out there. Have you ever signed up for someone's freebie and then received emails from them afterwards? I got one off a certain company. I wanted to find out how much my car was worth, and then every day after that, I had to unsubscribe. Every day after that, I received an email from them trying to educate me into the process of what was involved with that. Print copywriting, just to give you a few examples, if you're thinking about either your business or you're wondering what copywriters can do from that side of things. Well, they can create the words for flyers that you see coming through your door, or maybe people give out in the street when there's an event. Same for more involved leaflets. Maybe you've been to a wedding venue recently and they gave you leaflets, or maybe you've actually just been to the doctor's and they gave you some information. Even that is an example of copywriting. You might have written in the past, you might have written a proposal for work, or, even a cover letter. That is example copywriting, because you're trying to persuade somebody to either take on your idea or give you a job, right? Okay. Even books, even printed books can be examples of copywriting. Think about it this way. If you had a task of writing an introductory book for a company that wanted to sell people eventually their full course, so like an introductory book into, I don't know, bookkeeping or accounting, and then hopefully eventually they will go on to buy that full accounting course guided by the founder. There's so many examples of copywriting out there. So many contexts that you can write in. Okay, so that brings me to my next point. So, okay, there's a lot of confusion out there about what copywriting is and the difference between it and content writing. So predominantly content writing is to inform and educate. So think blog posts. If you've got a business right now, even if you're a freelance copywriter and you're listening into this, you can be creating content as in the form of blog posts to educate your audience, whoever they may be, into certain things. So let me give you an example. Maybe a person is interested in hiring a dog trainer, or eventually taking a dog trainer course because their dog is behaving in a way that they don't want him to. Okay, so if they put a couple of blog posts on educating that person for free, so saying, look, this is the equipment you need to stop your dog pulling. These are the steps you should follow. Try these easy strategies. Then they have informed that person on how to do that certain thing. Now, it's not to give them all the information, because maybe they want to hold some information back so that person will be tempted to buy the course. But you can imagine that reader's going to feel really valued. Okay, so that is one example of content. It can even be reviews. So maybe a website selling, I'm going to go all like pet accessories on you, sorry. But a website selling pet accessories, maybe they're going to review the top 10 automatic cat feeders. Okay, so someone who's looking to go on holiday for like 2 or 3 days, and the cat's got access in and out. They want to leave their cat at home in a safe environment where they can get fed. They can produce that content and educate that person, and then maybe that person will want to actually buy that product from them, or maybe they buy through an affiliate link. Okay, so that is content. So it's usually to educate or to inform, whereas copywriting is more to persuade. Okay, and to make someone, commit to a specific action. So say, for example, I've got an email. An example of copywriting would be in a welcome email sequence. Okay, you put your email address in, you want that freebie, say, for example, a checklist on what you should include on your homepage. Okay, so that checklist arrives as an email saying, hey, how are you doing? Introducing the company that has given you that freebie, and then like asking you to follow them on social media, say, for example. So that whole purpose of that email is just to get you to follow them on social media. Then they'll send you another email the next day with the aim of educating you on something else they do. So maybe it's their brand mission, maybe it's their values, so they're building the know, like, and trust factor, and educating you into what they do and making you feel like you trust them. Okay, so copywriting, there's always a specific aim. Okay, so, and I've got a couple of examples on my linked blog post that I'm going to be sharing with you in the video blurb if you're on YouTube, and in the podcast blurb if you're on the podcast. So you can go and have a look at different examples of copywriting as opposed to content. Right, okay, so the next thing I want to share with you is, well, okay then, that's great, Helen. You've told us what copywriting is. Now you've told us the difference between copywriting and content writing. Okay, so what do copywriters actually do? And why is it a great career? Okay, right. So copywriters, they can start by helping. Maybe they've got a client. Maybe they are a freelance copywriter and they are working with small business. And they have a client, and they can identify the goals of a project with that client. So maybe they've pointed out that client could do with a really clear sales page to promote their product. And maybe if it's a bigger company, that copywriter might be working with a creative director on those goals, and to figure out what the aim is for that project, first of all, and who they're trying to connect with, so what the audience is, how that'll be delivered. So in this example, via a long form sales page, so a long sales page describing what benefits the audience are going to get out of a specific service. And then it really depends what role you have. So if you're on staff, you're going to create the copy from the brief, and then you're going to refine it as part of a team process. So via a few creative reviews before that's signed off. If you're with a client, you're going to mirror that kind of process where you go back to the client. You kind of might have to teach them how to review it a little bit so that you get the best out of them. You know, like things like, does it sound right? Does it sound like you? Does it sound like your brand? Or the message is clear enough? Is it clear what action we want the audience to take? So there's also those kind of things. Then wherever you work, you will go and refine that copy. So that's called the revision side of the process. And come back again and review until that copy is, like I said before, signed off and the project's complete. Okay, so there's a lot of flexibility with copywriting, but the three main kind of ways you can work are as predominant as one. Well, the number one, you can be an on-staff copywriter, which means that you're employed as part of a creative team for a company, and they pay you a wage. So, and that's fixed depending on what you agreed at the beginning. You'll probably be working under the direction of a marketing manager or a creative director, and you've got that security of all the benefits and, you know, like regular wage every month. Or you could work for an agency where it might be a full-time role, or it might be a part-time role, and you're like almost like a middleman. Well, the agency is the middleman, and you're working for the agency, but they have clients that they will work with you on. Okay, so you'll be sent projects and you will agree a certain rate at the beginning for what you're going to work for. Probably going to be less than your freelance rates. That's kind of normal. And finally, you might decide that you want to be a freelance copywriter, so working completely for yourself, sourcing your own clients. Maybe you mix it up with a little bit of agency work, a bit of work that you've sourced yourself. So you have the freedom to choose what to do when your contract ends, or what to do when your project ends. You have the flexibility to move on whenever you want to, but also you've got to plan ahead for your income and your bills and things like that. So there's positives and negatives with everything. Personally, I'm a freelance copywriter. I love that I can work whenever I want to. And then ultimately for me, it's going to be about location, non-specific. So ideally, I'm aiming, I've got my palm tree in my head, I'm aiming to be in Lanzarote in the next 2 years. And that is my goal with the freelance side of things. So what are you thinking right now? Is this appealing to you? Is this potential freedom of, like different writing that you can do, and the variety of things that you can do. Is that appealing to you right now? Because I know, honestly, it is the best move I ever made to become a copywriter. I struggled with other jobs because I got bored, and with copywriting, there just really isn't any chance to get bored. So that's my take on things. It's amazing. Okay. The other thing to bear in mind as well, if you're not sure whether you're thinking copywriting, content writing, I went through this myself. I have got a background in blogging, so I'm an expert in creating content. I'm well placed to be talking to you about this because I have made over like $35,000 with one blog post, an affiliate blog post. So stay tuned. I'm going to be sharing how I did that in an upcoming episode. But also, I'm pretty good around a website as well. I know how to do that, and I know how to get both content writing clients and copywriting clients. The thing to note about it is that usually content writing is a lot less well paid than copywriting. Okay. Just something to bear in mind if you're planning ahead and thinking about how much income you're going to need. It's a lot easier to be, in a sense, get more copywriting jobs because they are higher paid. You don't need as many, basically. Content writing as well does take you a lot longer because potentially you do have to really research. Copywriting, don't get me wrong, you do need to do a lot of research, but with the higher price, you're buffered. You can add that to your project prices. So in 95% of the cases, copywriters are paid way more than content writers. So just something to consider. You might genuinely really like going into blog writing. But if you do train as a copywriter, know this. I would seriously charge my copywriting rates if a client wants blog writing, okay? And I have always been really strict on this, that clients need to understand that I am a copywriter and this is my bag and I am good at what I do. So the value is there. They'll get to page 1 on Google. Okay, so it's something else to bear in mind. If you do go down the content route, but you have done a copywriting course, please do value yourself and charge those higher rates for it. Okay, right. So bringing me on to how you would get started with copywriting. Well, for me, it was a copywriting course. Now, I'm not going to sell to you or anything. It's just my experience. My journey is on my blog. So if you look up helennuttall.com, and Filthy Rich Writer reviews, go there, have a look at it. It gives you all the details. It's not the only course I did, but I recommend that you take an online copywriting course just purely because those copywriters are awesome. They mostly, if you invest, like a few $100s, they know what they're talking about. They've had the experience and they know how to, to really build their businesses. Okay, so I would say that's your starting point. Okay, so go ahead, look at the ones online, compare them, and that is where I would start from. Seriously, have a look round. There are some free resources, but with the free resources, what happens is you have to look all different parts of the internet, and it's not ideal. So I would start with a course, even if it's a basic course, just see if you like it or not, and then go from there, build from there, and remember to invest. Okay. Everyone starts from somewhere, and as long as you're willing to learn new things, you will succeed. You will succeed as a copywriter. Just, guys, any questions you have about starting, any resources, you've got questions about, let me know. There is a resource section on my site as well. It's called Learn With Me. You'll find lots of different things there over time. So just keep tuning into it and just seeing what you can get off there as well. Okay, I've loved doing this episode today. I hope you found out loads about what copywriting is and the difference between that and content writing. hit me up in the comments and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, all right, guys, I'll speak soon.